You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, card shop, arcade, theme park, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
I feel like that noise did not need to go with the opening of the can, but okay. And I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis, and today we are playing Mark Out, the digital wrestling card game. How is this game going to hold up? Are we going to give it a play it forever or a future endeavor? We also dive into more of our WWE 2K23 experiences.
And please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. And don't forget, you can get this episode early and ad-free at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It's been a long day. Needed to crack open one of these PB. Just kidding. They don't pay us. It's a Michelob Ultra.
Not sponsored, pal. Let's
Brock Lesnar in the UFC. I'm going to go home and drink a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me.
How are you feeling with coming off of last week's? We covered ladder matches. I love doing those episodes. I think it's so much fun. We already have the next one teed up. We know what we're going to be covering next for the best and worst. And I think I'm even more excited for that one than I was the previous one. But how do you feel about it? You feel confident with your picks from last week? Yeah,
I think the ones that we not really forgot to mention, I think we said in the beginning we weren't going to cover all of them. We could just, this beer is just like sitting right here.
You stand up, do some stretches or something?
We said we weren't covering all of them. We were just going to cover the best, the worst, what we think, in our opinion, are. But we did leave out Legends of Wrestling. And to me, personally, I remember those being complete crap, and I didn't like them. So rightfully so that I left them out when I did the notes. So if you want to hear about those, go listen to the episodes back on the Legends of Wrestling games, because we cover them probably in full detail. It was a lot of fun. I went that night and I really dove into 2K23. And of course, I did a ladder match and I did a Money in the Bank match because I love seeing how chaotic and hectic those are. And I've been playing it really ever since. So
I think
it's been a lot of fun.
I think we even mentioned last week that with Money in the Bank match, you're either going to play it for like 10 minutes or that one match is going to go like 40 minutes. Like
my God.
There's no in between. It's either super close, it's either super short or super long.
No, but have you been playing at all 2K23?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really dive in the way that I want to. I want to, like, I've played a couple of matches. I started the showcase, but I really want to, like, I think this is the year that I'm finally going to do. I'm going to try my faction a little bit more in depth than I have in like the last couple of years. I think I'm going to join you in doing GM. But I don't know. I feel like so many people in our Discord and so many people that we've seen talking online that we're buddies with have mentioned that they're trying to treat this game differently than they did 22, which
so far the ratings are a little better as well.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying whatever their like traditional play style is, like if you're someone who goes in and immediately is just like, I got to make my guy, I got to do my rise, I have to do all that stuff. They're saying that they're not jumping in immediately to that. They're going to try to approach this one differently. That way the game doesn't get stale and you don't burn out as quickly as maybe they have in the past. And I think I'm going to try to join in on that and maybe approach this one from a different angle.
I think that's my game plan too. Last year, I really only did the showcase, and I made me. I made GMP Man. I made VSK, and that was really kind of it. Other than like me and you playing together, but
Yeah.
already I've done 2 drafts in GM mode, which I am such trash. I can't win a show for the life of me. It's just mind-boggling. I don't know. There's got to be something I'm missing. I got to look more into it. It's so much fun, though. I have no problem just starting a draft every single time I play. And other than that, I'm 6 matches in. I just got to the edge and lead a match in the showcase, which it's fun. The whole blurring the refs' faces and like every WWF logo and whatever, like Lita's chest is blurred. Like there's so many blurs in the game and you don't get commentary. It's just kind of background music. Like there's not even like the fake crowd doing the oohs and the ahs. It's just the music, which is kind of It gets a little boring and repetitive. John Cena whoops your ass.
I was gonna say, well, how do you feel? Like, what's your opinion on not playing as the I guess the attraction of the showcase mode? You know, every other year that we've done it, you've always played as the person who the showcase was built around. Obviously, this year is a little different. I've seen some people love it. I've seen some people not so thrilled about it.
I love
do you
it.
feel?
I like you start off right away. You're Rob Van Dam, and I'm like, oh, this is sick. And then like the next match, I'm like, oh crap, okay, cool. I'm the Undertaker. I'm the Undertaker again. Like I'm Triple H. I think it's cool to go through the roster, and I've said it to you and our Discord. Like these games are a little different now, where maybe I'm not used to the controllers. Like I can't just pick this up and go. You do the tutorial, whatever. But the showcase mode really helps you like drive down how to do certain things.
Hey, and you get rewarded for the tutorial this year. That's nice.
You do. Yeah, so I like it for that reason, where it's like teaching me how to do other stuff, like carry moves. Maybe that's something that slips my mind, or like running it. I don't know. You know what I mean? It helps you out a little bit.
I 100% agree with that, and I think that I don't know. Stale's not the right word when you constantly play the same person over and over again. But
yeah,
there's a better word, because it's not stale in a bad way. It's just like repetitive to the point where it's just like, all right, I just want to get through this to finish it. Like it's not about the journey. It's you're just, all right, I want to unlock everything. I want to be done with this. Where this feels a little bit different. The matches are different. You're playing as someone different for most of the time, for most of the matches. And I don't know, maybe they amped up the computer difficulty even on normal mode because it's John Cena.
Yeah. One thing, I have not been able to dive into any created modes yet.
Me either.
Because, well, I've tried, but every time I try linking my account to WWE2K.com to go to the image uploader, I have everything set. I'm ready to go. It says, sorry, we do not recognize the account in our system. I'm going to the 2K account. I'm going in 2K support. I'm going like everywhere here. And they're just like, oh, restart your console. Like, come on, man. Come on. Huh. So I don't know. I'm going to keep trying until it works. I know some people said they just literally kept trying. And eventually they got it. But so far, that has not worked for me. So there's got to be something. Everybody's... I don't want to start my Rise mode until like I can play as me.
Yeah. I'm just say, well, maybe that'll be the next update for the follow-up next week. We'll see if...
I hope so. It's frustrating.
I can't wait till I get the text message after we record this episode. Like, I figured it out. I did it.
There's nothing... I don't know. There's nothing to figure out. I don't know. It's frustrating. Something I want to promote here. Big show, May 13th, Creator Pro Wrestling. This is honestly the first ever show that I'm going to miss.
Wow.
I'm not going to be there because my baby's going to be maybe a day old.
That's
very true. Rightfully so. I will not be there. But the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, MJF, will be there. Raven will be there. So if you're in the New York area, you do not want to miss this one. It is such a fun place. You were at this one last time in Melville, New York.
Yep.
It's a big place, big arena. We had Hook there last time, and it's going to be so cool, and it's going to be great. So if you can't get there, maybe it'll be streamed on Twitch or at least IWTV afterwards, but check it out, May 13th, Creator Pro Wrestling.
Nice big venue. Plenty of
great food.
Seats. Yeah, great food. It's a good spot. It's a good spot for a wrestling show. Nice, big, tall ceilings. That's the part that I like.
Yeah, great for a ladder match. Hint, hint. But okay, follow us on Instagram at GameMarksPod.
Oh,
Find
baby.
our pinned post and tag 3 friends to enter to win Corazon De Leon, Chris Jericho, AEW figure. It's only about a week or two left of this, so get on it.
From the Clash collection.
It's super easy. Just tag 3 friends. That's it. Make sure you follow us.
Hell yes. And with that, John, is it time for us to take the plunge into this week's game? And of course, as always, guys, the deep dive is sponsored by our friends over at Zavi.
Hey, George. You see this light here that says game over that I point to at the end of every single episode, like Ronda Rousey pointing to that WrestleMania sign?
I do.
Do you know where I got it?
Why don't you tell me?
I got it from Zavi. That's us.zavi.com, Z-A-V-V-I, and they literally have everything. I have spent hours on this website looking up Mandalorian, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, like everything you could imagine. There's Legos, Power Rangers. You could pre-order the new Marvel Legends. It's an insane website that has literally everything pop culture. There's even Batman shoes on here.
I mean, I know for me, a little like adult Zen garden project that I like to do is like the smaller Lego sets, and Zavi has a lot of those Lego sets on there and getting kind of itchy. So if you like all things pop culture, like John said, Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, Nintendo, they're even getting into the wrestling game now.
Oh, yeah.
Zavi is the place for you.
That's right. Use code GameMarks, simply just GameMarks, at checkout, and you can get 10% off.
I'm going to redo my wardrobe. All right, guys, mark out the digital wrestling card game released August 26th, 2021, developed by DIY Experiences, published by DIY Experiences. Other games in 2021, you've got New Japan Strong Spirits for the iOS and Android, WWE Champions 2021 for the iOS and Android, WWE Undefeated for the iOS and Android, Retromania Wrestling, and Action Arcade Wrestling, and a game that we played very recently, Wrestling Empire.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. Now, of course, in the archives, there is an interview where John and I sit down with the man who created this game, Mr. Shannon Williams. And this was a great insight into his history, the process of developing the game, the rename of this game, which we're going to talk about a little later. And yeah, it just gave us a whole different perspective on this, like the backstory, how we got into it, what was the premise behind this game, and a little peek behind the curtain on some things that are released now, but at the time they were not yet available.
That's right. So July 21st, 2021 is when we interviewed Shannon. This game was not out yet. It was still a month out. At the end, you actually ask him, you say, is August 26th still the date? And he said, yes. He goes, if I don't have a date in mind, I have trouble sticking to them. And as we can see here, this is when it was released on Steam. Now, keep in mind, it is still in early access at 0.7. So we don't still have that 1.0 yet, because it's still just a work in progress. It's a one-man show here. And let me tell you, this guy knows his stuff. Go back and listen to the interview. I'm almost requiring it as a little prerequisite, or after, maybe. Listen to it after. It's on our YouTube. It's on anywhere you can find it. You know what? I'm going to put it up. I'm going to repost it this week as the Retro Arcade episode on Friday.
Okay. Yeah. That is a good idea.
So if you're not familiar with it, it's going to be there for you right there. You don't have to search too far. But the point of this game, collect, craft, and battle your way to the top in this wrestling move collectible card game that lets you innovate like never before. Enter the ring a rookie, leave as the GOAT. Not an actual GOAT, like the greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time. Yeah.
You're not entering as Bobby Orlando.
Oh, that would be cool, though.
Yeah, right? So first thoughts here. And this is something we brought up to him right away. Is it like Raw Deal or With Authority or any of those card games? And the answer is no. This gives you something visual to where some card games are you flip a card, something happens, and that's it. Like even to the point where we're pretty much obsessed at this point with Marvel Snap, and you play a card, and animation happens, but you're still just seeing the cards. In this game, you're not just seeing the cards, like the moves happen, and then you actually see two wrestlers who you select in the arena you select do the moves. Now, it's not fully, it's kind of like stop animation style moves, but it's still a lot cooler than just seeing like your move go and hit the other card.
Yeah, I thoroughly appreciate the environments because there's, like John said, you're going to hear us talk about it more and more throughout the episode. It's not fully animated moves, but the environments that are created, dynamic lighting, crowd effects, there's different types of matches. The presentation doesn't make it feel like a card game. The presentation is elevated. It's something else. It's beyond just like your traditional style of a card game, but I don't know. I think it delivers on a presentation basis that kind of separates it from other wrestling video games.
Yeah, I think so. And it has the whole aspect where you open cards and you can swap in and out of your deck. It's very reminiscent of like the Ultimate Teams in like the EA games, or even like you said before, My Faction mode. It's very similar to that, but you do get that aspect of like, oh wow, you're actually hitting this move. And when he first started off with this game, the characters were kind of like those creator wrestlers where when you're in one of those old games and you watch I think they still do it, your character do a move to the other character, it's like the green and the red guy. Or like the gray guy.
Yep.
So the characters were just the gray guys, and he thought that was cool to have.
Or in the
but
other games, you
eventually,
have Crash Test Dummy.
yeah, and eventually he did rework them to be like an actual roster of made-up wrestlers, just like the Foo Fighter and some others. And I think he's going to keep adding to those as well. So that was pretty cool. And I don't know if there is an actual like creator wrestler part. I don't think that's in there yet. I think it's something he mentioned he wanted, and it's still a work in progress, so it's something we could still get. What do you say we read? Now. I'm going to read through the features here of what you get with the game right now at 0.7. So 100 plus collectible cards, card stack tracking system, which is pretty cool. So you track everything you get, everything you've put into the game. Player versus CPU, player versus player online, which is still in beta. Deck building, where you will build your deck and that's what you compete with. Fully 3D card game with animated wrestling moves. Custom card creation system, which is really cool. Custom card sharing, so once you create the card, you could share them, kind of like the title belts in the old WWE games. Match creation mode using cards. In-game achievement system. Card upgrade system. In-match card fusion system. Card innovation system, allowing 2 unique cards to be joined for a double stat impact. Multiple match types, which if you watch our playthrough, there was a cage match, there's a ladder match, there's a casket match, anything you could imagine. 7 playable arenas, and I thought the coolest one was the Monster Factory because it's a place I've been to and I've seen, and it looked dead on exactly like it. And then there's like your New Legacy, there's a Circle, what was it? Circle of Trust or something like that?
Circle of Respect.
Circle of Respect is like a Ring of Honor style arena. So it's cool. Every game has something like that.
But like you had mentioned before, there is a creative suite. And in the creative suite, not only is there a deck builder, card combinator, which is just you can combine cards. There's a creator wrestler. You can download workshop creations from other people who are playing this on Steam. You can create a promotion, and you can craft GOAT card or GOAT tier cards, greatest of all time cards, which is cool. Now, in addition to that, there is the in-game store, which is not for real money. It is for the in-game currency that you earn for playing matches. And in there, you can get booster packs, which is just regular card breaks like you would do in any other kind of trading card game. There are loose cards. So if you're looking for a specific move or a specific Yeah, I guess it would still be a move. I'm saying because there's like the regular moves, but then there's also like if you want to like do a move with a cage or you want to do a move with the ladder. So there's like match specific moves, I guess is the right term. And then you can go through all of the arenas, and there's a lot of arenas in the game. You unlock them throughout the progression of your account level, and I believe you can unlock them all the way up to level 10, if memory is correct. And there's a lot. There's like, I think at least like 15 or 20.
Well, we just read that there's 7, so
not in this version. I just opened it up and there's more than that. But it's very, very, what's the right word, John? It's ever evolving. There's
oh yeah.
From the time that we had our discussion with Shannon to the game coming out to then us playing it after the initial release to where it is now, the game has changed so much. There's been so much content added. It's cool to see a game and talk to the developer at a point where the game is almost released and then see its life cycle and its evolution throughout the course of 2 years.
And the cool part is you too can see the evolution because Shannon goes live on Twitch a lot. And every time he's live, it's him working on the game.
Yeah.
He answers questions. He is sitting there in Unreal Engine just working on the game. It's pretty cool. I've sat there, just had it on my other screen, just watching him do his thing. And like, he's a full sail university, like trained game developer. So like, he knows what he's doing, and it's pretty cool to see. It gets me, I don't know, it gets me itchy every time to start diving into Unreal, but we know how Game Maker Studio 2 worked out for me. So, let's talk about the tiers of the cards, because as of now, which there's going to be more added in the future, I believe there's going to be 12 in total or even more. We have a starter, typical, atypical, vintage, elite, and ace. So I always go back and compare this to like Pokemon cards, where you got like the circle, the diamond, the star, and all that. So every card game needs something like this, and yeah, this one has it as well.
Ranking system is always important that way. I mean, I'm gonna bring it back to Snap. You gotta know how the cards mesh together and what combinations are gonna work best for you. It's not just it's not always about what the power on the card is. You got to have something where it's like a cohesive deck.
Yeah, and we didn't really get into this part yet, but the actual cards that show the move on them are also just like beautifully designed.
Yep.
Everything from like the opening animation of you ripping open a deck and you seeing those cards is just like, oh yeah, it's just like satisfying and pretty.
And you can control every part of it. So you can go and watch the YouTube video on our YouTube channel where we open six decks, and you can either click through each card and have that reveal, and the presentation is great and you get to a better look at everything, or you could just hit the quick open button and it just shows you, it opens the deck, it lists out everything that you got, and you move on. So depending on how you want the full presentation, or just you want to open your deck and get back to building another deck and having matches, both options are there.
Right. So let's talk about the art style of once you're in the matches. It looks like you're playing, say, like a 2K game or something like that.
100%.
Because the ring, the arena, the crowd, the steel cages, the ladders, the weapons, everything is so pretty. It's so spot on to the point where you're looking like, okay, I'm playing like a new wrestling game here, but it's actually a card game. I said before, the Monster Factory looked great, but then like the actual arenas look like wrestling arenas. And that's all you want in wrestling games. Like there's some games we play where you have, it's like a hard time believing that it's actually a wrestling arena. I don't know.
When you look, there are some games, some that we have played, some that we have yet to play, where you just can tell the amount of detail that goes into, the character models, the the arenas themselves, lighting effects, the crowd. I know that we're crazy people, and we talk about the crowds in the games because it's all about that immersiveness when it comes to stuff like that. So when you see someone going through and putting in the extra effort, and it's, you know, it's not always a paper crowd, and it's not always some weird kind of closed off section just to make it look like it's finished. Like you can notice when these extra levels of details are put in.
I think so. And then I think the coolest part was the background of like opening the packs and stuff, like the lights and all that.
Oh, it's great.
Like it kind of reminded me of like the old Impact Zone.
I would say it almost reminds me of like the 2000s Raw match graphics when they would when the wrestlers would walk off screen or from off screen onto like the big light bars, the big like truss rods and stuff.
Yeah, kind of like the Raw game. Had that.
Yeah,
not a good comparison because this is way better, but yeah.
But that era of television.
That era. And of course, when you pick your character, it's a nice character select screen. You kind of scroll through them. You also pick like which deck you want to use, the attire you want to use, and it shows if they're a powerhouse, a bruiser, like whatever they are. The HUD here it has your health. If you're in a singles match, it shows your different body parts health as well. So say you're using submission moves, you could work on like the legs or something like that. And then it shows the energy that you have to use for the cards themselves, because each card has a number on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. You could only use it when you have that much energy. And if you don't have it, guess what? You can't use it.
I love how simple simple is not the right word. How clean the character selection screen is, because there's a lot going on. It's beautifully designed, but doesn't feel cluttered. 3 simple options. You pick your character, you pick the deck that you want to use, and if the character has an alternative attire, you could pick what kind of attire you want. I just think that in situations like that, we've played a lot of games where it's kind of been a little bit of a cluster.
Yeah.
This is definitely not a cluster.
I think I still prefer like the arcade style where they're all on the screen, but
yes,
I've come to terms with that. That's just dead, like across the board.
Well, this is just like this is in line with like the 2K games and stuff like that, where it's you really get a good visual of the character that you're going to be playing.
The Game Marks podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, providing precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer.
It's the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. The Performance Package 4.0 comes with the Lawnmower 4.0, body hair trimmer, the Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, below the belt toner and deodorant, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies.
It's definitely holding all my goodies, if you know what I mean. Over 7 million men worldwide trust Manscaped with their grooming needs, and we've got an exclusive offer for all of the Game Marks out there. You can get 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping just by using the code GameMarks at manscaped.com.
Unlock your confidence and always use the right tool for the job with Manscaped. Manscaped.com and use code GameMarks.
I like that every move you do, it's not just the same angle, the same camera and whatnot. You get like different angles. If it's a top rope move, someone flying off the top, you're going to get like that up angle, watching them come down.
And you get like 3 shots, like 3 or 4 shots per move, which is cool.
Yeah. I got at a certain point, you're like, why don't we just get the move? But then it becomes like any normal wrestling game where you want it to be like this card game.
I wanna say that there was a card game that we had played that was kind of like that, where there was the cards on the bottom, you picked your card, and it was a full-on match.
It was a Japanese game, wasn't it?
It was a Japanese game. The name is escaping me right now.
Yeah, we definitely future endeavored that one. I remember.
But it was that kind of, obviously the graphics are very, very different from what Markout is.
It was
But
a Joshi game, I think.
I think so. But it was that same thing. You had the match, live happening in the ring, the characters like fully animated and based on the cards that you picked. I don't necessarily know if that style would be as effective for Markout. I think that the system, like you said, the system and how it's built within this game works for the process. It's not a card game built around the graphics. It's built around the experience of building your deck, picking your character, having the match. It's more about the match and less about the appearance.
Well, that brings me to the next thing that he mentioned when we interviewed him, and that was is the mode in here. I don't know if you have the game open, if you could check, but he mentioned a mode where you're not against an opponent and you go in there by yourself, you string together moves. You could kind of say like, okay, start with this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And then you could just hit play and you watch the match that you just built.
Yeah, it's hold on. I can see the name.
He's going to open it up again.
Yep, I am. Is it Grind?
Is that what that is?
Check
it out.
This mode allows you to climb your way to the top of all promotions around the world. No, that's not Grind.
So Grind is pretty much like the career mode here.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't make it in yet.
Maybe it's not in because I'm seeing Exhibition, Grind, Online, and then it's Card Packs, Collection, Creation, Store, Options, Credit.
Okay. So, maybe within the next update or two. So, because that was something that was really cool to me, and I really hope it does make it in because we don't have that in any other game.
Yeah, no, that's very, very cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll just, did you know?
Did you know DIY has also published PickFed Evolution, a digital platform to make figure photography with created action figures?
Did you know there are 44 Steam achievements available on Steam for this game?
Did you know the original name for Markout digital wrestling card game was Spot Callers Wrestling?
And did you know Markout the digital card game is available on Steam for $14.99? Now, while it's available for $14.99, there are also no microtransactions in this game. So everything you get, all of the cards, everything, it's all in-game currency that you earn in-game just by competing in the exhibitions and competing in the matches, and that's it. That's how you get new packs and all that, which is really cool. There's no money grab. There's no use 100 gold to open a advanced pack right away and all that crap. So fair for everyone.
I like it. I like the fact that there's no which 2K 18, 19? The one with Seth Rollins on the cover.
18, I believe, because 19's the one I had and 18's the one you had, and you hated. You didn't get 19 because you hated 18.
Yeah, and microtransactions they just don't need to be in wrestling games.
Yeah, we don't need crates for everything.
It's my number one favorite feature about this game is that there's so much content in this game, and the only thing that you have to do to unlock it is play the game.
Well, my favorite feature of this game is the background music, because it is all by John Kiernan, who also does my theme song, who also does Brian Meyer's theme song, both with It Lives, It Breathes, and who also does, I think, the Major Players song with Downstate.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I think you are right.
It's pretty cool to see a familiar face in there as the background music. I know he did throw it out to a bunch of my friends, like, hey, if anyone needs music, hit me up. I don't know. So there might be some more music coming down the pipeline.
Hey, I love that. Maybe they want to do a rock version of the caster theme.
We already tried that. It didn't really.
It didn't work.
It didn't really come to fruition.
You can't. You know what it is? Caster's theme is perfection. You can't top that.
No. But all right, it's time to sit back, relax for some R&R, some ratings, and reviews. On Steam, This game is rated positive, and now I'm going to read some of the latest ones here. I'm gonna kind of skim through because these are long. But someone says, Sod FMJ says, I'm rewriting my review because everything I said last time has either been fixed or will be fixed. The game is great. It's super addicting. Update. This game gets updated all the time. There's an update every 4 to 5 days, and not only including bug fixes. Amazing how much content gets added to the game, and all of them are free. And then Old Dad says, this game is so much fun. No microtransactions. Must buy if you like card games. After playing a ton, I could still say this game is a ton of fun. The developer has been making lots of updates and fixes and is truly listening to the community. I do see this being a long-term success as more and more people discover it. So that's how people feel about this game. That's why it's rated positive. The constant updates are just perfect. Like every time we see him go live on Twitch and he's updating this game, you get that update right away.
I love it. And then what more can you ask for? A responsive developer with free, frequent updates. And like both of the reviews said, no microtransactions. Nothing is pay to win.
Yeah. I'm interested in PickFed Evolution, which is, I think, something that's
also
not,
on Steam.
Yeah, I don't think it's completely done either. I'm going to look it up, but I do remember seeing it up there and going through the images and stuff. You create your arena, you create your wrestler, and then you just do fig photography.
It's great. It's
just digital fig photography, and you don't have to use like little strings or anything to keep the wrestlers up, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, there's only one review of the game, so I don't think it's done. I don't think it's really marketed yet, but it will be coming soon. Go check it out if you'd like in the Steam library.
Yeah, what do you think? Does this qualify as maybe it's a bonus episode? I don't think it's a full-fledged episode, but maybe there's a little bonus pod where we sit down for a little bit and play it.
Yeah, because I don't think there's anything to actually like play.
Yeah, but maybe we stage a little major pod network figure photography.
Hey, you never know. But all right, it's time now for our ratings because it is time to rate the game.
Would you look at the time?
Yeah, he says it every time.
It never gets old.
The game!
All right, George Feis. Mark out the digital wrestling card game. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
It's a play forever. Easy play forever. It is a different approach to a wrestling card game. I've said it before. I am not someone.
Number 2.
I am not someone who typically leans towards the card games, but I think that I am getting at least over the life of this podcast, getting a better understanding of how the mechanics of those games work. So I'm developing a bigger appreciation for those games. And the presentation for this is perfect. I think it's great. And now I'm at the point where I feel like I've missed out on a lot of other potentially great card games. So maybe there's a whole backlog that I need to go through. But
oh boy,
for a mark out digital card game, it's a play it forever. Now, Johnny Clash, I turn the question over to you. Mark out digital wrestling card game. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
Play it forever. So, again, I'm not big on card games either. You know, Pokemon back in the day and whatnot. I had the Harry Potter card game. I had some Yu-Gi-Oh! Never anything.
You're a Magic guy?
Not at all. No Magic. Look, a few Digimon. There was a Digimon. Digimon. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was cool. But really until recently when I started playing Marvel Snap is where I started like, okay, card games could be cool, you know? Card games are pretty cool. And this had a lot of those same tones that I look for in the Marvel game, but it's like more like a full drawn out video game. Like it's not just turn-based cards and that's it.
Could you imagine if Snap had like big, like full screen graphics on a computer like this does?
Isn't that what Marvel Midnight Suns is?
Kind of. It's turn-based.
with cards.
Oh, yeah, it is cards. Shit.
But I believe there's more to it.
Yeah, there's a full, like, storyline. It's not so much like versus,
Right.
how Snap is.
Once you get in there and your battles are pretty much cards, so.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's another
Is that on the
one.
list? Is that on the radar?
It might be. It might be. If it ever goes on sale, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's a free weekend right now. I think there's a free weekend coming up for Midnight Suns.
On what?
Let's find out.
Regardless, it's a play forever. So, of mark out.
This weekend. It would be. I'm sorry, it'll be the weekend that has just passed if you're listening to this on Monday. But if you're listening early and ad-free on Patreon, this weekend, Midnight Suns is all access weekend, March 23rd to the 26th, 2023.
On what, though? What console?
On Xbox, PlayStation.
Welp, I guess I'm downloading that later.
Yeah, play the game at no cost to you this weekend on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S.
But then after the weekend, do you have to pay for it?
Yeah.
Oh, then never mind. I don't have time this weekend. But all right, double play it forever for a game that we've been keeping track of for a while and something we're going to keep touching on. But with that, are you ready to go to the soft lock?
Let's do it. All right, the Soft Lock is a weekly segment where one of our mega marks from our Patreon gives us a topic to debate, discuss. Sometimes it's a question of the week. And this week, the question comes from Tecker. Tecker would like to know, why haven't we gotten a popular unlicensed wrestling fighting game in the vein of Saturday Night Slam Masters from a major studio? Especially with esports and fighting games being so popular, people are clamoring for new games to stream and play.
Simply, I think there's just not enough meat on the bone for something to have longevity. And
I love the idea.
yeah, which is why I think people go back to the classics so much. But when you go back to the classics, how often do you even play those? And like, what time do you even put into them? You kind of play them and then that's it. Play them a little bit, say, oh, that was cool. I remember I used to like this game. And that's it. Yeah. Would we love it? We would absolutely love it. I
totally
tried to develop it and it just didn't work. So
it's, I do like that idea a lot, though. You want a fantasy book one?
Sure. I mean, they're unlicensed, so how would we fantasy book it?
That's true. It's unlicensed.
Just give me a Slam Masters 2.
Technically, there is, but...
Oh, there is. That's right. It's on the list.
It's on the list, and we've already played it.
Yeah. Shit.
Well,
hey, sponsored by Michelob Ultra.
It wasn't a full console release. It was arcade only. So
right. No, yeah. No, I remember.
I would take a true like full console successor to Slam Masters.
But in a way, isn't it kind of just, if we're talking about something that's released now, wouldn't it just be like Soul Calibur with a wrestling ring?
What if it was still like 2D? What if you kept it?
Then we get Retromania.
Yeah, but
then we get Action Arcade Wrestling.
Yeah, but not everything for Slam Masters was in a ring.
I know.
And there were things where you would fight in like a parking garage.
Farting like a parking garage?
Fight in a parking garage, and for some reason we need to take a shot, whatever the equivalent of that for this podcast is. John, take a swig of your Michelob for me.
For farting in the parking garage.
Farting in the parking garage, yeah. For when you're fighting in the
We've all done
garage.
it.
It's true. This is very true. You would get, you could slam people on cars. You could use trash cans and stuff, which you could do in a lot of other wrestling games. But in a 2D concept, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in a unlicensed wrestling fighting game like
Or do you want to develop one? Contact us and we'll work something out.
Yes, you got 2 graphic designers who would love to be involved if you're interested in making a wrestling fighting game. All right, John, would you like to know what we are playing next week? Because we're staying on Steam.
All right. I like that we've been playing a lot of Steam games.
We are staying on Steam because next week we are playing a game that has been in development for quite some time. We are playing Pro Wrestling X.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's do it.
I'm ready for it. Guys, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for our weekly playthrough videos, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. GameMarksPod.com/shop for our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for our new shirt designs, including the brand new Johnny's Bell shirt. Available now. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Patreon.com/GameMarksPod for this show early and ad-free for only $5 at GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. And here you go, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and leave us a 5-star review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you have a product or service that you would like to advertise on this podcast, please reach out to us at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. Johnny Clash, don't think there's much more to say other than farting in a parking lot and do that thing.
Game over, Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.